Happy Wednesday morning, everybody. I just finished listening to Lenny's podcast. What a great job Lenny does every day. It was good to have you back, Lenny. Andrea did super job yesterday filling in, but always good to hear both of you guys in the morning. Welcome, everyone, to Arnie's Fantasy World of Sports. Is everybody ready to get started this morning? Well, last night, we heard the news. I think I actually broke the news yesterday, according to Phil Chappie, that Andrew McCutchen, former MVP, was out for the year. And of course, with that vacant hole last night, the Phillies, it was really interesting to see how they would react and come back, losing their leadoff hitter, their center fielder. They were playing, losers of 5 in a row, right? Okay. And taking on San Diego out west with rookie pitcher Chris Paddock towing the hill for the Padres. And well, thank goodness the Phillies on the weekend traded and got Jay Bruce.
Swinging a fly ball out to left field. Renfroe going back. It is gone. An opposite field home run for Jay Bruce. His second extra base hit of the night, and the Phillies retake the lead. It's a 3-2 ball game. That one's hit well deep to right field. Reyes going back. It is gone. A grand slam for Jay Bruce. Second home run of the night. He has 6 RBIs. And the Phillies have busted it open. It's 8-2. Welcome to Philadelphia, Jay Bruce.
What a start. I'm telling you. The Phillies go on to win against the Padres in San Diego last night by the score of 9-6. 2 home runs by Jay Bruce. So let's call him Bruce Almighty. I mean, that one's out there, right? Bruce Almighty with 2 big home runs. The Phillies break their 5-game losing streak, and they go on to defeat the Padres. Wow. So an old veteran with new life. That was the theme last night, wasn't it? Especially in the Motor City, where the Detroit Tigers were facing Cy Young winner Blake Snell and the Tampa Bay Rays.
1-2. Driven to left. Deep and gone. How about that? Miguel Cabrera connects on an off-speed breaking ball, and he launches it over into the Tiger bullpen. 4 runs for the Tigers. Probably going to be the end of the night for Blake Snell. Maybe Biggie will really embrace this DH role. How about 2 claps and a Ric Flair? Woo! 6-2 Tigers.
And the Tigers went on to win that game against the Rays last night in Detroit by a score of 9-6. As you just heard, Miggy grand slam off of Blake Snell. The game was tied at that point, 2-2. That was Miggy's 3rd homer of the season. The grand slam put the Tigers up 6-2. They were off and running after that. The Tigers, not only, if you look at that game, not only did Miggy have a big game last night, but also another player on that team, a couple other players on that team are worthy of note. Nico Goodrum. How about Nico? He wore a diamond, right? Was that the wrong song? Nico Goodrum started at shortstop last night, and Nico Goodrum went 3 for 5. Okay, in fantasy, Goodrum, shortstop, second base, first base, outfield eligible, and he's leading off for the Tigers. He's only hitting 244. Goodrum's a streaky player, but right now he's in a groove. And to get those type of hits last night off of Blake Snell, huge. Kristen Stewart went 1 for 5 last night for Detroit. Of course, you know about Miggy. Nick Castellanos went 1 for 3 last night. Lugo, the rookie, 3 for 4 with a triple. So it was a good night for some Detroit bats, but it was also a good night for Mr. Carpenter, the pitcher for Detroit, going 7 strong, 2 earned, no walks, only 3 strikeouts. And Green, the reliever, the closer, 19th save of the year as the Tigers pummel the Rays in Detroit last night. Wow. I tell you, a game last night that if you love offense, okay, I have no audio clips from this one. I just got to talk about it. If you love offense, Miller Park is just a great place for offense, right? Yeah, don't you love it? You go to Miller Park, teams score runs, especially the Brewers. Okay, so you got the Miami Marlins coming in, and you expect last night for the Brewers to really go off, right? Okay, well, there were 16 runs scored total in that game last night. It's sort of like if you add the career home runs of Arnie and Hank Aaron together, it's 755. Hank hit 755, I hit 0. Well, last night, the Marlins scored 16 of the 16. They beat the Brewers at Miller Park 16-0. And I just added a guy on my roster, Cooper, for the Marlins. 4 for 5 last night. He's not the only hero from that game. Starling Castro, 2 for 5 with 3 RBIs. Jorge Alfaro, 2 for 5 with 2 RBIs. Rojas, 3 for 5. I mean, the beat goes on in Milwaukee last night for the Marlins. An 11-run 5th inning. Just had to bring that one up. If you're another fan of offense, I challenge you to go to Arlington, where Drew Smiley and Dylan Bundy were facing off against each other. The Orioles win the game 12-11. That's right, 12-11. And their catcher, Severino, well, he was a really big part of those 12 runs last night.
Severino gets one in the air to left field. That ball is hit deep, turning around to look. And goodbye, home run. Didn't even run for that one. Chu in left field took a couple of steps and then waited to see how far it was going to go. Back-to-back homers by Smith and Severino, and the Orioles lead it 4-0. Miller's delivery to him hit hard and deep, and Chu's going to watch this one. Way back, and goodbye home run. Severino with a sweet swing gets his second home run of the ball game, number 7 on the year. This good for 2 RBIs and an 11-3 lead. Well, for the Giants, really, Severino lifts it in the air, left center field. The Shields going back at the wall, and goodbye home run. He did have another dinger in him. A 3-homer ball game, and Severino's blast. And 5 lead. He's trying to get to 10 in a hurry, isn't he? Good heavens. That's where that ball went, towards the heavens.
Great game from Severino. His first home run in the 4th inning was a back-to-backer. Smith had hit a home run just before him. Then he homers off Drew Smiley. The Orioles led 4-0. In the 7th, leading 9-3, hits a 2-run homer, making it 11-3. And in the 9th, with the Orioles leading 11-5. And you look at the time when they were up 11-5, his homer made it 12-5. So you think, it didn't really matter. It did, because Texas comes back and scores 6th in the bottom of the 9th. And so that home run, the 3rd one, was the difference maker as the Orioles beat the Rangers. And you don't usually think of the Orioles as fantasy relevant, but when you saw yesterday, let's talk about this for a minute. When you look at pitching matchups, and we're going to do this today, I've got some key stats of batters against pitchers for today's game. We're going to go over in just a few minutes. But when you look at Drew Smiley pitching yesterday in Arlington against a heavy-laden, right-handed Baltimore Oriole lineup, it was a breeding ground, if you will, for runs from the Orioles side of things last night. Okay? On the Texas side, it's always great run potential. And so this series, if you're playing daily, or if you can add a free agent off the waiver wire, go take a look at Orioles. Go take a look at Rangers. They're out there. Gotta be, okay? Maybe in abundance. And for this series, it's certainly worth taking a look, all right? And the Rangers go on to play Oakland, and I think there could be runs scored in that series this coming weekend. Anyway, take a look at it. Look, balance your roster. I have no idea what your rosters look like, guys, but it's certainly worth a look. All right, last night, and I've talked to you over the last few weeks. We're going to do it again this morning. We've looked at standings, right? And we've talked about how the Twins have the potential this week to run away literally run away with the American League Central. Well, I think Frankie Lindor listened to my broadcast and he said, not so fast.
Lindor smashes one high in the air, deep left field. It is gone to Souvenir City. Lindor ties the game with his 9th home run of the season. And the first run allowed in the career of Devin Smeltzer after 8 1/3 shutout innings. Frankie hits his 9th, and this is elevated, and he smokes it right off the barrel of the bat. It gets out of here in a hurry. I'm sure that's what Sandy wants to see. Lindor clobbers one deep to the bleachers in left field, and the Indians take the lead. A 2-out, 2-run homer for Francisco Lindor. And his second home run of the night as the Indians in front. So the Indians come back, and Lindor with his second homer has given the Indians a 2-run lead.
And Cleveland goes on to beat the Twins 5-2 last night. Both home runs, his 9th and his 10th of the year, off rookie Smeltzer. Smeltzer bombed last night, really. The Twins, hot team coming in. Minnesota and Cleveland, these are really games Cleveland needs to sweep. Okay? Make no bones about it. Cleveland has not performed well offensively at all this year, and these are the games they got to win. If you look at the box score last night, Marvin Gonzalez went 2 for 4 for the Twins. Smeltzer went 6 1/3, gave up 5 earned runs, only struck out 2 batters. He surrendered 4 homers to the Indians. Shane Bieber wins. He's 5-2, went 7 innings strong, 2 earned, 7 strikeouts. The Indians home runs by Bowers, Lindor with 2, and Roberto Perez, the catcher, also homered. So, again, it's urgency time if you are a Cleveland Indian. And last night, well, they answered the call, didn't they? We've been talking about rookies, and we're going to talk about a few AAA games in a few minutes after this next segment. But who's hotter? Who's the hottest rookie right now in Major League Baseball? Okay, that's pretty easy, don't you think? Austin Riley, after last night, has played in 8 games, okay? He came to bat with the Braves trailing in the game by a score of 5-3, okay? And let's see what Mr. Riley did on a slider down and away.
Driven toward right. Did he keep it fair? It's near the pole. It is gone. A 3-run homer, and the Braves are off the deck. An opposite field homer right down the line for Riley, and the Braves lead 6-5. Unbelievable here. Another slider. Another sweeper that started at him and then started out to the outside third of the plate. What a strong kid. You bet. Way to go, Austin. Right down the line at the 320 mark. 9 home runs for Austin Riley. Among his last 7 hits, he's hit 4 homers. He scored 3 times. He's knocked in 3 tonight.
What a great start to a career for Austin Riley. How would you like to own stock in Austin Riley right now? And how many of us, yay, me, I'm one, a couple of days ahead of him being called up, added him to your roster? I was. In fact, I go back, I brag about this, so let's talk about it at least one more time. He was called up on a Thursday. On my Tuesday night show that week, I said his call-up is imminent. Add Austin Riley. If you listened to the show and you listened to me, then you did it, and you're glad you did. If you didn't listen to the show and you didn't do it, you're like, why didn't I listen to Arnie's Fantasy World of Sports that Tuesday night? I can't answer that. But the fact of the matter is, whether you did or didn't, Austin Riley, I think, is the leading candidate for Rookie of the Year in the National League. Okay, if you disagree or agree with